Welcome back to the lecture. We had been looking at in the previous lecture the notion of successive differentiation, derivative of the derivative function. So, we had defined the concept of n times differentiability of a function if its nth derivative n minus 1th derivative exists in a neighborhood of C. So, derivative of that n minus 1th derivative at the point C is denoted by f and c. So, that is the nth derivative of the function. Let us look at the example f of x is equal to x to the power k for x belonging to R. So, this is the x to the power k, where k is a positive integer, for example, right. So, this we know that this function is differentiable at every point. So, what will be the first derivative? F dash of x will be equal to k times x to the power k minus 1. And when you differentiate again, what you will get? So, that function is differentiable and the second derivative will be equal to f double dash of x will be equal to k into k minus 1 x raised to power k minus 2. So, let me just write this so that it becomes clear. So, let us look at the function f of x equal to x to the power k, where k is a number say bigger than or equal to 1, that is fixed, and here x is bigger than x is any real number. So, we know that from our examples of differentiation f dash of x is equal to k times x to the power k minus 1 for every x. So, this function f dash is a function now again defined from R to R. F was a function from R to R given by f of x is equal to x to the power k. F dash, because the function is differentiable everywhere, f dash is again a function and f dash of x is equal to k times x to the power k minus 1. Now, once again this will be differentiable if this is bigger than k is bigger than or equal to 1, say for example, this is again differentiable, and what will be the derivative of this function? It will be k into k minus 1 x to the power k minus 2 and so on. So, this will have derivatives of every order till you can reach f n of x that will exist. So, k into k minus 1, k minus 2 and so on up to k minus n. If you are looking at the nth derivative, x raised to power k minus n, n minus x to the power is k. So, k minus, so this will be x to the power k x to the power k minus n. So, that will be the nth derivative. So, the derivative, so this function will have derivatives of all order, and in fact more also. Okay. When x is equal to k, then this will be 0. So, this is an example of a function which has successive derivatives. So, in terms of the second order derivative, the condition says the following. So, it says if f dash of x exists for a function defined in an interval, if the second derivative exists in an interval c minus delta to c minus delta. Okay. This is the first derivative exists. So, once the first derivative exists in a neighborhood, we can ask for second derivative will exist. So, the condition is that the second derivative of the first derivative of the function is 0 at that point, because to analyze local maxima or minima, the necessary condition is anyway that f dash of derivative at that point must be equal to 0. So, the first we have to ensure that, so the condition is that the first derivative exists in a neighborhood of the point C, and at the point C the first derivative is 0. Further, if the second derivative at the point is less than 0, then f has a local maximum at the point C. So, the condition is in terms of the second derivative, but to define the second derivative at a point, we have to define say something about the first derivative at that point. So, we are saying first derivative exists in a neighborhood of the point C, first derivative is equal to 0 at the point C. If this is satisfied, and in addition the second derivative at the point C is less than 0, then if all these conditions are satisfied, then f has a local maximum at the point C. So, similar condition holds for the local minimum. the first derivative exists in an interval around the point C, the first derivative is 0 at the point C, and the second derivative is bigger than 0 at the point C, then the function has a local minimum at the point C. So, this is what is called the second derivative test. This gives you sufficient conditions to ensure that a function has got a local maximum or a local minimum at a point in terms of the second derivative. So, the first derivative should be equal to 0 and the second derivative at that point should be less than 0. These two will ensure that the function has a local maximum at the point C. And similarly, if first derivative is 0 at the point and the second derivative exists and is bigger than 0, strictly bigger than 0, then the function has a local minimum at that point. So, this is what is called the second derivative test. We will not be giving proofs of this, but we will use these conditions, these sufficient conditions to analyze local maximum and local minimum of a function at a point. So, let us look at one example. Recall we had looked in our previous example while we are trying to analyze minimizing the average cost function of a product. The average cost function is the total cost function divided by the output x. So, is the total cost function, and this is the x items being produced. So, this is the average cost of the function, and that in that example came out to be equal to this. So, to analyze now whether it is minimizing or maximizing the average cost, to analyze that we looked at the derivative of this and we found that the derivative equal to 0 gives us the value x is equal to 30. So, at x is equal to 30, the possibility of a local maximum or minimum. Now, to analyze we can analyze the property of the derivative, first derivative itself. That is what we had done in the previous example to analyze whether x equal to 30 is a point of local maxima or a minima. But we can analyze, because this function is differentiable, second derivative exists. So, second derivative for this function at x is equal to 30 turns out to be bigger than 0. So, second derivative for this is minus, so that gives you plus. So, 2x, the power goes minus 1. So, that is now x is minus 3, right, and when you put the value equal to 30, it turns out to be a positive quantity. So, the second derivative of the function average cost function at x is equal to 30 is bigger than 0. So, it must be a point of local minimum for the average cost function, and that is what we had established using only the first derivative test in our previous lectures. So, let us look at some examples to analyze these points of local maxima minima. So, what is the strategy for analyzing whether a function has got a local maxima minima at some points? First of all, we have to locate those points where possibly the function can have a local maxima or a minima. So, the points are as follows. First, f is a function, let us say defined in a domain D. So, it can have local maxima minima at the following points. The possible points are 1, n points in case there are any closed intervals in D. So, n points of those closed interval if there are any. Secondly, the next set of points will be the points at which f is not differentiable. There may be points in the domain of the function where the function is not differentiable, and the function may be having a local maxima or minima at those points. We had seen some example in the when we defined the notion of local maxima and minima. And the third possibility of this are the interior points, but in interior point our necessary condition what should be derivative should be equal to 0. So, that gives us that if at an interior point of D the function has to have a local maxima or minima and the derivative exists at that point, then derivative must be equal to 0. So, this is the three set of points which need to be analyzed for a function to have local maxima or minima. That what we are saying is, if f is defined in a domain D and if it has to have a local maxima or minima, then these are the only possibilities for the function. So, these points One is the endpoints of intervals, if there are any in the domain D. Second is the points where the function is not differentiable, endpoints or interior does not matter, the points where the function is not differentiable, and the third is the interior points where the function is differentiable and the derivative is equal to 0. So, these points are normally called critical points for the function. So, this gives a complete list of possible points for a local maxima or minima of the function f. So, these points are called the critical points for the function. Normally, some books call the only third as the critical points and all these points as total stationary points. So, these are possible candidates for the function to have local maxima or minima. So, strategy for analyzing local maxima minima would be for a function, first of all look at the function, look at the domain of the function, it may have some endpoints. So, collect together those endpoints and look at the points where the function possibly is not differentiable. So, that is the second bag of points, second collection of points, and the third is the interior points where the derivative exists and the function is equal to 0. So, compute the derivative and put it equal to 0 and solve it. That will give you the possible points for the function to have local maxima or minima. So, one will analyze at these 3 points. So, these are the possible candidates where the function can have local maxima or minima, and we will apply either the continuity test or the first derivative test or the second derivative test to analyze whether that point is a point of local maxima or local minima. So, let us look at an example to analyze this. So, let us look at this example, f of x is equal to x square minus 4 raised to power 2 by 3 for x belonging to real line. So, this is the function which is defined for all points x belonging to the real line. Now, to analyze, so first thing is to look at domain is the whole of real line. So, there are no points where endpoints or intervals and such things. So, first category of points are not valid for this, not required. The second is look at the points where the function is not differentiable. Are there any points where the function is not differentiable? So, this function point of non-differentiability are x is equal to plus minus 2, because when you take x is positive, then x is x square minus 4 is bigger than 0, then the function will behave differently than when it is less than 2. So, at see x square equal to 4 is equal to 0, the value is equal to plus minus 2. So, those are the points where the function x square minus 4 will change its nature. So, accordingly this left derivative of this at these points 2 and minus 2 will change, will not be equal. So, this function is not differentiable at the points x is equal to plus 2 and minus 2. Okay, if you find it difficult at present to analyze this, I would suggest that sit down and try to analyze the differentiability of this function at these points plus 2 and minus 2. Why this is not differentiable? So, try to compute the left derivative, try to compute the right derivative at plus 2 as well as at minus 2, and you will see that at both these points the left derivatives are not equal to the right derivatives. So, for x not equal to plus minus 2, the function is defined. So, let us compute the derivative of this function for the points when x is not equal to plus 2 or minus 2. In that case, we can apply our usual formulas of differentiation. So, the derivative is given by the power comes down 2 by 3 x square minus 4 2 by 3 minus 1 into by chain rule derivative 2x comes. So, this is the using the power function differentiation and the chain rule combined together gives you this derivative. So, the derivative is equal to 4x divided by 3 times x square minus 4 raised to power 1 by 2, that is equal to 0. So, this gives you at the points which are not equal to plus minus 2, that means I am looking at the interval minus infinity to 2, in the open interval minus 2 to 2, and in the interval 2 to infinity. Only one possible candidate appears to be candidate for to be local maxima or minima, and that point is x is equal to 0. So, we got 3 candidates to be analyzed for local maxima minima. One is 2 of them are plus minus 2, another one is 0. So, we get 3 candidates for critical points 0 and plus minus 2. So, let us analyze these points one by one. So, in the interval, if I look at x belonging to the interval minus infinity to 2 and in the interval 0 to 2, then f dash of x, right, if x is here is in this, if x is here, then it is negative, okay, square will be positive. So, this quantity will be a negative quantity. So, f dash of x will be negative for x in this portion, and if x is in the portion 0 to 2, okay, then x is less than 2. So, this value again will be a negative, numerator is positive, but this value will be negative. So, f dash of x is less than 0. So, in these two intervals, if x lies in these two intervals, then derivative is less than 0. So, that means what? That means in this interval the function is decreasing, and in this interval the function is decreasing. So, let us write that observation, that the function is decreasing in the interval minus infinity to minus 2 and 0 to it should be 0 to 2. And if we look at so this is 0 to 2, and if we look at the interval 2 to infinity and minus 2 to 0, then the derivative, the sign of this is positive. So, as a result of this, we get that the function must be increasing in this portion as well as in this portion. So, these two properties can be put together, that the function is increasing in this interval minus 2 to 2. So, the only portion we have not looked at is minus 2 to 2. So, let us look at in that portion also. So, the first derivative test applies, and we have a local maximum at this point x is equal to 0. And local minimum at the point x is equal to 2 and x is equal to minus 2. So, by looking at the first derivative test, by the nature of increasing and decreasing, we have just concluded that the function has a local maximum at the point 0 and local minimum at the point 2 and minus 2 both. Let us apply these ideas to an example in economics. So, we are given that a firm's production Q as a function of the labor is given by Q is equal to 6 L square minus 0.2 L cube, where L is the number of workers and Q is the production. So, production depends on how much labor is employed in that firm. So, what we would like to know is find the number of workers that will maximize the production. So, that is one question, and we want to sketch the graph also of that. So, find out the number of workers that will maximize the production, and the production is given by dependent on the labor, and this is the order. So, find the size of the workforce, how much labor is there so that maximizes the average product of labor. So, we want to know the value of the labor that will give you maximum average product for the labor, and at that point we also want to calculate the marginal product of labor and the average product of labor at those points. So, that is what we would like to do. So, let us compute that. To maximize Q as a function of L, the first step is we should analyze this. L is the number of workers. So, obviously, L is going to be strictly bigger than 0, right. So, now it is going to be L is going to be integral values. So, we will, for the sake of mathematics, we will assume, we make a assumption that L is a number which is a positive real number. So, q as a function of L is given by this, and mathematical problem is to maximize this. So, for that we look at the derivative of q. So, 6 L square, the first term, the derivative is 2 into 6, 12 L minus 0.2, 3 comes down. So, 3 times multiplied by 0.2 into L square. So, that is 0.6. So, the derivative dq by dl is equal to 12 L minus 0.6 or 0.6 L square. So, to find out the possible candidates for L such that this q is maximum, we have to put the derivative equal to 0. So, find out those critical points. So, when we put it equal to 0, that means from here either L is equal to 0, because L will come out, you can take a factor L into 12 minus 0.6 L, that gives two values, L equal to 0 or L equal to 20. Obviously, there is if L is equal to 0, there is no production and we are trying to maximize. So, we discard the value L equal to 0. So, the only possible critical point is L is equal to 20. So, at L equal to 20, we would like to know whether this q is maximum or minimum. So, we can look at dq by dl. So, that is given by this. So, we can analyze the nature of the derivative for L on the bigger than 20. So, this quantity when L is bigger than 20, this will be negative. So, this will be decreasing for all points on the right of right, and increasing. So, this is written wrongly here. So, when L is less than 20, this value when L is less than 20, this value will be positive. So, L is always positive. So, this product is positive. So, on the left side it is positive. So, function is increasing on the left side and decreasing on the right side. When L is bigger than 20, this will become negative. So, decreasing. So, this is opposite written, this is a typo here. The function is increasing at all points on the left and decreasing at all points on the right of 20. So, this is that means L equal to 20 is a point of maximum. But if we, even if we want to analyze at 0, 0 will be a point of local minimum if negative values of L are allowed. But this is a graph of the function when for L bigger than 0, you can see at the point 20 there is a maximum value. So, this part of the graph is just for the sake of mathematics, that negative you will. And this is also interesting to observe that our function q as a function of L is a cubic, power is 3. So, there are possibilities of two values, graph cutting at two values, in fact 3 values. So, it has two coincident roots, L equal to 0 and one other root at some other point. But from our point of view of the problem of economics, at L equal to 20, when the labor size is 20, there will be maximum production. So, the production, you can see from here the production is increasing, right, as the labor increases. When it reaches 20, there is a maximum production, and then the graph drops down, starts dropping down. That means, when the labor increases beyond 20, the profit will the production will start decreasing. So, maximum happens at the point L equal to 20. So, this is how you can interpret the graph also. The average of q as a function of L will be q by L, right. The average is total divided by that quantity. So, when you divide, you get the function 6L. So, L cancels here. So, 6L minus 0.2 0.2 L square, the one value will cancel here. So, now it becomes a quadratic equation, is a equation of degree 2. So, when we want to analyze whether what will be the point where it can have a maximum or a minimum, it is differentiable everywhere. We find the derivative. So, that will be 6 minus 2 multiplied by 0.2, that is 0.4 L. So, the critical point will be when this quantity is equal to 0, this equal to 0. Point is this, here it is 0 is not written there. So, equal to 0, that is L equal to 15. So, that gives you the value L equal to 15. When the labor is 15, the average production will be average production of as a function of labor will be maximum for L equal to 15. Also at this value, why it will be maximum? Because the second derivative for this, if we analyze, it will be second derivative for this, it will be 6. First derivative is 6 minus 0.4 L. So, when I differentiate this again, this will give you 0 and 0.4 L will give you 0.4. So, the second derivative of average of production with respect to the labor is minus 0.4, which is negative. So, that means L equal to 15 is a point of local maximum for the average product function. So, we have found maximizing the product for a labor and the average maximizing for both of them, right. So, now let us compute the marginal of production for L the labor when labor is 15. So, you recall the derivative for the production was 12 L minus 0.6 L square, that was the derivative. So, that is the marginal. We have to evaluate it at 15. So, put the value 15 and you get it 45. And similarly, the average of L at 15. So, this is this value, this average is 6 minus 0.4 L. So, that evaluated at 15, when you compute, that comes out to be 0. So, if you at the point 15, the average cost of production, the marginal is 0, whereas of the average of the production is equal to 45. So, that is how you calculate the marginal, and we have already seen what does the marginal indicate. So, you can calculate the marginals and apply them. Marginal analysis that we had done earlier can be applied. One can also relate these things to between average product of labor and marginal product of labor. So, let us look at a production of a function of labor given by Q as a production of L. That is what we had in the previous example also. So, the average production will be APL Q by L. So, in this we are not looking at particular examples, we are looking at a general function and trying to find a relation between them. So, if we analyze this, assuming this everything is differentiable, the derivative of the average production as a function of L will be equal to, by the quotient rule, it will be L square L into derivative of Q by L minus Q into derivative of L. So, once you simplify that, so there is 1 over L dQ by dL minus Q by L. Now, dQ by dL is a marginal of production, right. So, it is MPL minus APL divided by L, right. So, this denominator L, Q by L, that is average. So, this is average, the average production function is given by this. So, that is AP of L, average production of L. So, let us look at this a bit further, where MPL is the marginal of the product of labor, that is what we said, dQ by dL. So, once that is obtained, suppose the average product of labor assumes the maximum value at L naught. So, let us assume whatever was the relation, right, and the maximum value is obtained at a value L equal to L naught. In that case, if we put that value, that means 0 is equal to derivative of APL divided by derivative of APL with respect to L at the point L0, right, because it is maximum. So, by our theorem, if there is a maximum at a point, then the derivative must be equal to 0. We get this is equal to 0, and that just now we computed it is equal to this. That average, the derivative of APL with respect to DL was 1 over L naught, MPL at L naught and APL at L naught. That means, at L equal to L naught, the marginal production at L naught is equal to the average production at L naught. So, these two are equal. So, that is the general formula that one gets. We can also look at the total profit and function at the points of maximum minima. Total profit pi, we denote by pi, this is a Greek letter pi. is total revenue minus the total cost. So, if we look at assume that everything is differentiable, so that will give you derivative of total profit is derivative of total revenue minus derivative of total cost Q, right, with respect to Q, total cost with respect to Q. So, we are differentiating this assuming each is a function of Q. So, this is TR. So, derivative of TR is the marginal of revenue, derivative of TC is the marginal of total cost. So, MR minus MQ, and at the point of maximum, when so assuming pi assumes the maximum at the point Q0, we put the value here. So, when it is maximum, we will get 0 is equal to this evaluated at Q equal to Q0. That means, MR marginal of revenue at the point of maximum is marginal of the cost at the point of maximum Q0. So, that gives us a relation when both are equal at the point of maximum. So, if MR is bigger than MC, so here also we can, because of from here this formula, if MR is bigger than MC, that means the derivative of total profit with respect to Q is positive. So, pi must be increasing, that means the profit will be increasing. So, this is the interpretation. If marginal of revenue is bigger than of marginal of cost, then the profit will be increasing. That is a conclusion that we get. And if it is less than, then it must be decreasing. So, that is the analysis for the marginal that we get. So, we will stop here today by recalling that we have looked at the first derivative test, we have looked at the second derivative test, and we had applied these things to some examples in mathematics, purely mathematical examples of given a function, how to find out local maxima and minima. So, the possible candidates we said are the points where in the domain where these are endpoints possibly, that means there are some intervals in the domain. So, endpoints. Second possibility is the interior points where the function possibly is not differentiable, and the interior point. Third category is the interior points where the derivative is equal to 0. So, these three categories of points are the possible candidates for maxima and minima, and to analyze them we apply the tests for maxima minima, the sufficient conditions. The first one was the continuity test. The function is continuous at that point, and the first continuous at that point and increasing on the left, decreasing on the right in a neighborhood, then local maxima, decreasing on the left and increasing on the right in a neighborhood, then it is local minima. So, that was the derivative test. Correspondingly, we had a first derivative test, just increasing, decreasing is interpreted in terms of the derivative. So, the function is continuous at that point. The function is differentiable in a deleted neighborhood of that point C. That means, on the left of C and right of C, the function is differentiable. On the left, if the derivative is less than 0, then the function will be decreasing, and on the right, if the derivative is bigger than 0, so that will be increasing. So, if it is decreasing on the left, increasing on the right, so it should be a point of maximum, local maximum. So, that is in terms of the first derivative. And finally, we had a second derivative test, that the function is defined in a neighborhood, has a first derivative in a neighborhood of that point C. First derivative is equal to 0, because that is a necessary condition anyway. So, first derivative is equal to 0 and the second derivative less than 0 implies the function has a local maximum at that point. And similarly, the first derivative equal to 0 at that point and the second derivative bigger than 0 implies it has a local minimum at that point. And these tests we applied to some of the examples in our scenario of economics, commerce and management. And the last one was about relations between profit and marginal of revenue and marginal of cost. So, we will stop here today and we will continue this analysis in the next lecture. Thank you.